JBS's The Jake Ehrenreich Show is brought to you in part by Stephanie and Simon Bergson, Helene and Barry Lewis, Judy Friedman and Ron Goldstock in honor of Hyas, Jonathan Fershpan, the memory of Nadia and Milton Bergson, Nira and Ken Abramowitz, Cynthia and Jeffrey Weisenfeld, and by viewers like you.
Live from the Triad Theater in New York City, it's the Jake Ehrenreich Show! Tonight, Jake's guests are actress and singer Julie Budd, cast members from Fiddler On The Roof in Yiddish, and a special Catskills Hall of Fame induction to Sid Caesar. And now, please welcome your host, direct from Brooklyn, Jake Ehrenreich!
This is really great. What a great audience this is. What could be better? Comedy, music, lots of Jews. This is fabulous. My name is Jake Ehrenreich. I began my career as a young musician in the Catskill Mountains, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And I became a bar mitzvah in Brooklyn, New York. You know, what's more important for a young person, right? Your bar mitzvah day with so many great, very important memories. I'd like to share some with you, if you don't mind. So, you know, picture this. It's a big Saturday night affair, you know. We have the service in the morning, and my father, God bless him, he spends my entire inheritance on my bar mitzvah at night. You know, I'm sure he meant well. I mean, honestly, I was pissed off about it for a long time. Now, I'm feeling better now. Next month, I'm scheduled to make the last payment to the caterer. It's going to be over. So anyway, okay, so it's the Saturday night, right? The end of the night, a little guy comes up to me. He says, Yuko, give my hair. First of all, I'm 13 years old. The guy's looking up at me like this. Big, they did not make these people in Eastern Europe. My bar mitzvah was like Gulliver's Travels. Listen, very nice, everything is very nice. Listen, give a kick, take a look. Tell me the truth. You remember me. You remember me. This was the theme of my bar mitzvah. All my parents' Holocaust survivor friends that I met once when I was like 5. I mean, the people I knew. Most of these people, I had no idea who they were. But I was a good kid. I faked my way through the evening pretty well. Now, it was the end of the night. I was tired. It was late. The guy says, tell me the truth. So I did. I said, sir, you know, you look familiar, but to be honest, I can't place you. He freaks out. He says, oh, Herr Bruch. Oh, Gewalt and geschrien. You don't remember me? You don't remember me? Me you don't remember? I was at your breast. You can't make this stuff up, believe me. But I'm glad that the Jewish people have something that nobody else has, right? The bar mitzvah. I mean, we also don't have something that everybody else has that they took from us when we were 8 days old. You're laughing? I don't think mine went well. I don't. They did their little procedure. I couldn't walk for a year. All right, put up a picture of my bar mitzvah, shall we? Ah, yes. There it is. Look at that. I know why you're applauding. Every Jewish guy has a photograph that looks exactly like this. The same draperies, the same carpet. Everybody's sleeves was too short. I'm not even sure this is me. Put up my family, will you? Ah, this is what I want to talk about. Look at that. Huh? The Mona Lisa of bar mitzvah photographs. I got to tell you, whenever I see this photograph, I always think, Why would any Jew ever go to therapy? Just take this photograph, give it to the therapist, and figure out what's wrong with me, I'll send you a check. That's the whole story there. Look, we were so poor, my mother had to make a dress out of the draperies. It's terrible. Now that's it. Let me introduce you to my beautiful family in my bar mitzvah, okay? So here on that side, that's my sister Wanda. And over here, that's my sister Joni. Yeah, she was with the NASA space program at the time. Those are my parents, that's me. Next to me is my Tante Regina, my great aunt, Tante Regina. How cute is this woman? My friends, looks can be deceiving. This chick was a piece of work. This is the toughest person you ever met in your entire life. Check this out. You see she's wearing white gloves, right? She wore white gloves to my bar mitzvah. To be elegant, to check for dust. She was tough, but I will tell you, the truth is, she came by her toughness honestly. This little woman, when she was in her 20s, she ran the third largest factory in Poland. My Tante Regina, the home that she lived in Pruszków, Poland, today is a museum. So kidding aside, my Tante Regina really was aristocracy in Poland. But to me, she was simply the closest thing I ever had to a grandmother. That's right. That's the way I remember Tante Regina. You might remember her from her role as Yoda in the Star Wars movie. I loved my Tante Regina very much. Take it easy. She'd be sitting here laughing, believe me. She could have taken it, though. We got a great show for you tonight. Julie Butters here. Cast members from Fiddler On The Roof is here. Stick around.
Got a black magic woman. I got a black magic woman. I got a black magic woman. Got me so my eyes can't see that she's a black magic woman, gonna make a devil out of me. We'll be right back. Turn your back on me, baby. Turn your back on me, baby.
If you care about Israel and are interested in Jewish life today, there's television just right for you. JBS, the Jewish Broadcasting Service, with daily news from Israel and analysis by the leading figures on the world Jewish scene. Evenings from the 92nd Street Y, a weekly Jewish film festival, Jewish culture, Jewish studies, and Jewish entertainment, and live Friday night services every week, as well as high holiday and festival services. JBS, television worth watching.
Welcome back. You know, people are often surprised by the diverse songs written by Jewish songwriters. And the song I sang, Black Magic Woman, was actually not about my Tante Regina. Maybe a little. But I sang it because that song, which became a huge hit for Carlos Santana, was written by a guy named Peter Green. Peter Green is a British Jewish musician who was born Peter Allen Greenbaum. But no matter what he called himself, he's no rock and roll slouch. He's a founding member of the supergroup Fleetwood Mac, was ranked number 38 on Rolling Stone's top 100 guitarists of all time, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. So the next time you hear a song like Black Magic Woman that you're absolutely convinced could not have been written by a Jewish songwriter, maybe you ought to think again. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our wonderful announcer, Brianne Bergson.
Thank you.
Oh my, hi Brianne.
Hi, Jake.
I love this dress, this is great.
Oh, thank you. Yes, my
This
mother
is
loves it
actually
too. I'm in a
fabulous.
dress.
I love it. And the hair is like 80s hair.
Yeah, you know.
I love it, it's great.
Keep it current.
It's great. We have a great show tonight.
We do.
It's a great show, I'm not kidding. We have a lot of music tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So usually I would like, bicker or banter. What is it that we do? I guess we bicker
banter.
and I bicker with my wife.
Right.
I banter with you.
Yes.
But I'm not going to do that because we got a long show. So would you like to introduce the first guest?
Surely.
I'm going to go sit to the couch. I'm going to the couch.
Fiddler on the Roof is one of the most celebrated Broadway musicals of all time and has been performed throughout the world in many different languages. Now the legendary Joel Grey has directed the American premiere of the Yiddish language version for the National Yiddish Theater Volksbühne. The New York Times raved that this production offers a kind of authenticity that no other American fiddler ever has. We are so pleased to have with us this evening 2 of the cast members from that production. Stephanie Lynn Mason plays Huddle, Tevye's middle daughter, and Drew Sigla plays Perchik, the young revolutionary she loves. The song they will perform, Now I Have Everything, takes place just after Perchik proposes. Ladies and gentlemen, from Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish, please welcome Stephanie Lynn Mason and Drew Sigla.
Bis jetzt hab ich gemeint, als ich hab die ganze Welt, ist das allein gewesen. Ich hab sich als Ziel gestellt, zu ändern die Welt, ist mir ein Nest geschehen. Es ist mir gleich schon zu sterben, ich hab schon mit wem zu leben euch. Jetzt hab ich die ganze Welt, nicht bloß die ganze Welt, und öfter Tage noch mehr. Ach, trotzdem, was hab die Welt, bist du mir euch noch beschert. Geh weiß von wannen, nimmt sich als ein Weib, was wird dir getreu, sei getreu in Herz und Leib.
Gestanden in der Zeit, ob gewahrt dich.
Wer weiß, heute Morgen haben wir ein Heim.
Du bist mein Heim, du lass mich nicht allein.
Warum wirst du nicht ein Jahr, Poschet und klar? Es ist mir gleich schon zu sterben, hoffst mir, wenn wir zu leben euch. Jetzt hab ich die ganze Welt, nicht bloß die ganze Welt, und öfter Tage noch mehr. Ach, trotzdem, was hab die Welt, bist du mir euch noch beschert.
Stephanie Lynn Mason and Drew Sigla. Should we sit? Let's sit and talk a little bit. Here, give me a
Sounds
mic.
good.
We'll sit and talk a little bit. Wow, man, to hear young people singing Yiddish like that. So let me ask you a
clumsy with
question
this chair.
first. Do we want to do the interview or the discussion in Yiddish or English?
English,
Oh,
please.
English, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Okay. Well, I know because I heard through the grapevine that in your homes, Yiddish was the first language that was spoken. Is that right?
No.
Nein.
Nein.
Bobby, no.
Wow, that was
Bobby
very-
Bobby meins ist,
Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that these are non-Yiddish speakers and these are not Jewish people? How did you come to this organization? Did you see an audition? You know, we want people who speak Yiddish or not?
I saw the audition, it intrigued me. I went to school for opera, and they teach you how to sing in Italian, French, German, and so my ear was kind of conditioned for foreign languages. And so when I saw an opportunity with a Yiddish version of Fiddler on the Roof, it made me excited that maybe because of my ear that I developed through school, that I actually have a knack at listening and picking up languages quickly.
Did either one of you hear music in different languages when you were very young?
Yes, I was watching opera on PBS from the time I was 5. And my parents were like, what is she doing? But, you know, I was fascinated with opera and listening to music in foreign languages. So, yes. And foreign films as well.
The reason I ask is because I sing in a lot of different languages, and I was on a cruise once when I was a much younger person, and a lady, an older lady, came up to me and she thought I was Italian because I had been singing in Italian, and I said, no, I'm Jewish. She said, okay, did you hear music in different languages when you were young? And I said, yes, my mother sang to me in 3 different languages. She said, that's the reason. And she explained that there are pathways in your brain, neural pathways, that can hear different sounds and accept them when you're young, but once you pass a certain age, about 10 or 11 years old, it closes down. Does anybody remember Get Smart with Don Adams? So there was a villain, the Claw, but he was Asian. So he didn't say the Claw, he said the Craw. So when Don Adams would see him, he would say, "It's the Craw!" And he would say, "Not the Craw, the Craw!" And this would go on for like 10 minutes. But it closes down, so you both speak beautiful, sing beautiful Yiddish, so that, and beautiful voices as well.
Thank you so much.
You know, and so you work with...
Adank, yes.
Adank, who said that?
I did. Ich verstehe.
Do you?
Ich
Also,
verstehe
you
ein bisschen.
Yiddish? Yeah?
Ja.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's very interesting because now, like, I can kind of understand a conversation if it's being spoken, but I could never talk back. Like, I could never improv back. Yeah.
No, I
Which can be
understand.
tricky if you're on stage and you don't know what the next line is because you have a mental flip and all of a sudden if I don't.
And there's every once in a while where you'll be in the moment and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, what is my next line? And I know this, but I don't know
But I
how
can't
to
improv.
like tuck my
I
way
don't know
around
well
this.
enough to improv, so
So
it's-
you have to be on your game.
Yeah,
Of course.
exactly.
I don't know English well enough to improv. That's hard. So, what is it like working with Joel Grey?
He's amazing to work with, and he has such a beautiful handle on the show, and his vision of this show is just extraordinary because what he did is he stripped away the big sets, he stripped away all of the things and just told this beautiful, beautiful, very relevant story. And he directed it very much like a play. He rehearsed us in English first, so that
Nice.
because we had 3 Yiddish speakers in the cast, but everybody else was learning the Yiddish. So he wanted to make sure that we knew what we were saying. And that's the one thing, like Christine Elbersaw came to see our show twice. And the first time she came backstage and she was very, very verklempt. And she said, I didn't understand a word of the language, but I was so, so moved. And I think a lot of that is because Joel rehearsed us in English and made sure that we knew exactly what was going on emotionally so we could really convey these very beautiful, touching, important scenes.
Yeah, very, very smart. So, where you grew up, were there Jews?
There were. There were.
What was his name?
Zach. Actually,
Where are you from? Tell everybody.
I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I grew up there, but it's funny because a lot of my good friends when I was younger were actually Jewish friends that I met through musicals that I did.
Interesting.
And I went up to my first Seder meal when I was 14. I put on their yarmulke they gave me, and it was a really awesome introduction to the Jewish way of living and their traditions, and it was eye-opening to me.
It's funny that you said you know a lot of your Jewish friends from musicals because we sent my son to a Hebrew day school, a conservative Hebrew day school, right? And in the summer, a lot of kids go to camp. And we thought, well, let's not send him to a Jewish camp. He's got like enough Jewish stuff in his day school. And he liked musical theater. So we sent him to a camp called Frenchwoods, which is a theater
Heard this,
camp,
yes.
right? And I said, we went there, and the head of the camp starts speaking Yiddish to me, and I'm like, no, we're trying to get WA. He said, what are you talking about? It's camp, it's musical theater camp. Everybody here is Jewish. Wow. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you realize, or has anybody said it to you, or do you know, so what you're learning, the type of Yiddish you're learning is one particular accent.
Yes, it's
right?
a specific dialect. It's literary dialect.
It's the one that they chose as the standard sort of the formal dialect,
Yes.
right? But Yiddish is, Galiciana and Litvak. It depends where you come from. I did a show for the Folksbiene many years ago, and a friend of mine directed it, and I was doing my lines, and I was going back and forth between the accents, and he stopped me. He said, "Yanka, look, I don't care which accent you use, but one or the other. You can't go back and forth."
You gotta pick one.
I was at my dad's house for Shabbos dinner a few nights later, and I told him the story, and he was like shaking his head. I said, "What?" He said, "This is what happens when kids take over." He said, "In the middle of Poland, they spoke both accents in the same sentence." And I called my friend, Avi Hoffman is his name, and his mother is a famous writer, Miriam Hoffman, and she writes in the foreword, and a real Yiddish. She teaches Yiddish at Oxford and Columbia. And I said, "Avi, my dad says," and he said, "No, Ma, Jonah says, and she yells, he's right! So I think I mentioned to you that I know Sheldon Hornick, and one of the greatest lyricists in the world. And the lyrics that he wrote for this show are really amazing. I'm very glad to hear that you did it in English before you did it in Yiddish, so you really get it. One of my favorite songs in the show is a song actually that you sing.
Yes.
And I was so taken by both of your performances in the show, and also by you singing this song, Far From the Home I Love. So Far From the Home I Love, if you don't know, this happens when Huddle is going to see Perchik. Perchik is in prison in Siberia, which, by the way, where my parents spent the war years.
Wow.
So when I heard that, I said, oh, Siberia, Sibir, they called it. And Huddle is leaving to go be with him, and she's leaving the home she loves. It's a very, very beautiful song. You sing it so beautifully.
Thank you.
Perhaps we can impose on Stephanie to sing it if we give her a nice one.
How about it?
Sounds good.
And why don't you and I get out
Let's
of
get out of here.
We're leaving it to her.
Was soll ich tun, du sollst mich gut verstehen? Herr Pfarrer, was tu ich das? In einem verworfenen Land vor ich allein, weit von mein lieber Heim. Ja, sie soll mal von mir genug gewähnt, Tage bloß unser Haus, und mit Bespuche und mit allem, das ist gewinn mein Heim. Jetzt versteh, als wartet auf mir, und mit ihm zu sein ist mein Pflicht. Es wird sich sein, mit ihm schon ich. Gott die alte Heim ruft mich. Tag in der vorreißt mir das Herz und sieht, ich will mein Heim, ich will euch ihm. Ist das ein Cholem, was ist mir zu blöd, weit von mein lieber Heim. Da, wo mein Herz will bleiben, da allein. Ich muss gehen, ich muss gehen. Jetzt will ich blutschen und wie stehen, weit von mein lieber Heim, weil ist vor mir mein Heim.
Danke.
Stephanie Lynn Mason. Lynn Siegler. Ken Kylie on the piano. We'll be right back. My next guest has been called the consummate performer by the New York Times. She starred in movies and theater, has appeared on television over 100 times with Johnny Carson, Carol Burnett, Merv Griffin, and many others. At 15 years old, she was featured on The Ed Sullivan Show. At 16 years old, she became Frank Sinatra's youngest opening act. She has recorded over a dozen albums, films, soundtracks, motion picture themes. Her latest CD is Remembering Mr. Sinatra. Please welcome my very dear friend, the incomparable Julie Budd.
Come here, put your hand in mine. Let me gaze into your eyes. You have made my whole world shine. Little boy of mine. Smile for me and light my way. Oh, what joy you bring to me. Mama will never go away. Little boy of mine. Little boy of mine. Since you came into my life, you've been everything I could never be. And now that you're growing older, you're so much more beautiful to me. I wish I could make time stand still and we could share eternity. I love you now and always will. Little boy of mine. Little boy of mine. Since you came into my life, you've been everything I could never be. And now that you're growing older, you're so much more beautiful to me. I wish I could make time stand still and we could share eternity. I love you now and always will. Little boy of mine. Little boy of
Let's sit. Come and sitzen.
We're going to sit
We'll talk a
down,
little
okay.
bit. What a beautiful song.
Thank you, and the composer of that song is in the audience.
Who is that?
Herb Bernstein.
Oh, God.
He's been
Herbie,
my
you wrote that song? For those of you who know who Herbie Bernstein is, so he's done everything. See You in September, Go Away Little Girl, Laura Nyro's first record. He's a great, great, wonderful song, everything, as you say.
Yes. Herb sold 40 million records.
He sold 40 million records.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And you were together, right? And you've been with Herbie for 10, 15 years already, right?
I met Herbie Bernstein when I was 12 years old at Tamarack Lodge at Catskill Mountain. I met him then. Yeah.
How did you... You're a kid and he's not a kid, I imagine.
No, he was an established producer at the time, and there was a talent show, and my cousin dared me to be in the talent show. So I cut camp.
Don't cut camp!
I cut camp to go on the audition, and I marched into the audition with my Camp Tamarack t-shirt and my shorts. And there's a fella that I really owe my career to. His name is Vic Minnow. He was the social director at Tamarack Lodge. And he said, "What are you doing here? You're 4." And I said, I'm going to be in the show. I'm here to audition for the show. And the first thing he said to me, Jake, was he said, do your parents know you're here? I was supposed to be making an ashtray in camp. Of course they didn't know I was there. I cut camp. So I said, oh, yeah, no, my mother and father, of course, they think it's all great. So there was a wonderful orchestrator and conductor. You know him, Milton Lear.
Oh, sure.
Milton Lear had the orchestra at Tamarack. He was wonderful. Oh. So he says to me, now I was really scared. He says to me, what do you want to sing, honey? And he was so nice. And I said, I'm going to sing Who Can I Turn To? Yes, I'm going to sing Who Can I Turn To? And I said, and I'm going to sing Moon River. And he says to me, what key? And I said, no. I said, just follow me.
Oh.
I said that to Milton Lear. I was like this little 12-year-old kid. And from that day on, Herbie was in the audience, and my parents let me try. I begged them. I said, please let me try. Let me try. And they really didn't want me to do this, but they figured they'd let me try. Well, Herbie was recording Merv Griffin, and that's how it all started. I sang for Merv Griffin on the break during the session, and like 3 days later, I was on national TV, and he used to put me on every single week. I was at the top of the show and the closing of the show, and he did that for years.
How old were you at this time?
I was 12.
Oh, my God, you were 12 on Merv Griffin?
I was 12, yeah. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
When I made my first appearance at Merv's, yeah.
That is amazing.
Right, and it's because I met Milton Lear, Vic Minnow, and Herbie Bernstein.
Herbie Bernstein.
So here I am.
And he's a classic. Can I tell people how I know you and Herbie?
Oh, of course.
So, I mean, this is actually interesting. We're friends, right?
But for like a really long time.
For a long time. So, like 100 years ago, I was playing drums at a place called the Red Parrot nightclub. I don't know if anybody remembers this place, but it was, do you remember?
Well, it was during the disco days,
yes,
right?
This was the nightclub after Studio 54 that was like the hippest place in town. Oleg Cassini made our jackets. I was playing in an 18-piece swing band, and we were alternating with the regular disco, right? This was a hip place. I mean, in the green room, I hung out with Mick Jagger and Sylvester Stallone. I mean, it was that kind of place, right? A million people online outside. And the gig started for us at midnight, to give you a sense of what the place was like. But periodically, we would have acts. And one day, Julie Budd was going to be the act, and Herb came in to rehearse the band. And everybody in this band was a real pain in the neck. They were all like, oh, you know, I got this gig, and they're giving Herbie the hardest time, like, which they did to everybody. And I had it, and I just stood up and I said, oh, why don't you just give the guy a break and let him rehearse and let's get out of here. Probably I had like a cute date waiting for me. I don't remember, but I wasn't that nice a guy. And after, Herbie came over to me, he said, you know, no one's ever done that. And we became friends. And then I played drums with Julie.
That's right.
We did Marty's together, and it was great. And I've loved them ever since. And what a great piano player, and what a great
You're a good drummer.
Singer.
You're a great drummer.
I was.
I think you're a great drummer. And he's a great singer. Isn't he a great singer? You are.
Well, it's really interesting what you just said about what you did when you were 12, right? I saw something. I really want to share something with you and with you. You don't know about this, but so when Julie was going to come on, I know a lot about Julie, but I also went online to see what I could find. I found something. So when Julie was 15, she was on the Ed Sullivan Show, right?
Right.
But it was not only that I saw. I saw her performance. But I want you to watch something. We're going to play a little bit of this because I've never seen anything like this. This is the 15-year-old Pisher singing with a guy named Hank Jones.
Yeah.
So Hank Jones, who was Hank Jones? 60 records under his own name, head of CBS at the time, I don't know how many
Wonderful
Grammys.
Pianist, wonderful jazz pianist.
Give you a sense who he was? When Marilyn Monroe sang Happy Birthday to JFK, Hank Jones was the pianist. That's who we're talking about, a very, very famous guy. Watch little Julie Budd try to engage Hank Jones by looking at him, by saying, hey man, come on, we're in this together. Don't go off into your own thing. Watch Julie. Play this clip, will you, Shannon?
I had just turned 15.
Watch this.
Have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love can be? Is there a meadow
Finally got it to turn.
where someone's waiting to be kissed? Skyline.
See, now he's looking at you, and now he knows. I want to deal with her. All right, that's the idea. Give her. Give the photograph up with the big man. Imagine that.
I wasn't quite 16. I was turning 16
Not
that
even
May.
16.
And Mr. Sinatra was fabulous. And you know, it was a funny thing because when I was on the plane on the way out to rehearsal, you know, to do the first band day, people were coming up to me, you know, all the yes men, you know, all the agents and PR people and handlers, you know. And they were saying things like, when you see Mr. Sinatra, you don't speak to him. You don't look at him, you don't speak to him. If you need anything, you come to me. I said, I get it. I will not look, I will not speak, I will not breathe. I'll do my charts and go up to my room. Not a word. I'm in the wings, and Herbie and I were finishing up the last piece in rehearsal. And I look over in the wings, and somebody's like waving at me. So I figure they're friendly in Vegas. I wave back. Waves again. I wave back. And I go off after the end of the tune, and the lights like coming out of my eyes, and somebody's got their arms open. It was Frank Sinatra. He says, Julie, darling, welcome to the show. If you need anything, you come right to me. My first Sinatra experience, you know. He was great to me, and so many people warned me. They said, oh, he's going to be impossible. Julie, just keep your mouth shut. Don't get in trouble. It was nothing like that.
Oh, isn't that great?
And he was great to my parents. He loved my dad.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, he was terrific to me. And I remember going up to him and I said, Mr. Sinatra, you know, I don't want to get in trouble here. Are we doing too much time? Because he had me doing 40 minutes. What act does 40 minutes in front of Frank Sinatra?
Wow.
That was like a gift, you know? That was a major gift. And he said, honey, do what you want. You're fabulous.
Oh, isn't
like, he
that
let me do
fun?
whatever I want. And he used to stand in the wings when I used to do my portion. And then when he did his act, what he did was he had them set up like a little cocktail table like this, and all his props were on there. And I used to sit, you know, and I was as close to the wing as I am to you, and I used to watch Frank Sinatra work every night. Wow. And then he'd come off, and he'd be looking for his props, and I'd hand him his props. I was like his prop girl, you know, and I'd hand him the props. One night he comes up to me, he goes, he's a little tired, you know, it's toward the end of the run, and he says, how am I doing? I said, they love you. You better get out there. They're going to tear the place apart. He says, I'm a little, you know, I'm tired. I said, go. They're going to tear. We're not going to have a hotel left if you don't go out there, you know.
That's amazing.
I mean, we had the best time together. He was so nice to me.
Do you know the great Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles story? This is a great
Which
story.
one?
It's an
Which
old,
one? Because
which
you know,
one?
they were good friends.
I know.
You know.
So this supposedly, this is the story I heard. So Rickles was at a restaurant with a gal on a date, and he saw Sinatra come in, and he thought, this is a good opportunity for me. So on his way to the bathroom, he stopped at his table, and he said, Frank, you know, if you could do me a favor, just maybe come by and say hi or something. You know, I'm with this new date. It would really mean a lot. He said, yeah, no problem. He went back, and during dinner, Sinatra goes over to Rickles' table, and he says, hi, Don, how are you? And Rickles says, can't you see I'm eating?
I know that's a true story,
It's a great
by the way,
story.
because I worked with both of them. You know, I worked with Rickles and I worked with Frank.
Oh, my God.
And Frank Sinatra, by the way, has the nicest family. They're
Now,
the
let me
nicest
ask you a
people.
question. So this is, you know, we're on a Jewish television station.
Right.
So you're in this world, this entertainment world, you know, and you know, Frank Sinatra, not a big Jew.
Well, you know, you say that, but I always told him it was a little questionable. I thought there might be a little Yiddishkeit in there.
You know, that's what I'm interested in. I mean, so you grew up in Brooklyn, we'll talk about that. But in your career, sort of, did the Jewish thing play any role, good, bad, indifferent? I mean, how did you feel? Clearly, you didn't hide the fact that you were Jewish.
Well, I was raised in a home where, you know, our Jewish heritage and tradition was very important. And my grandparents lived in the house for several years, and they were from Europe. My grandmother lost family in the Holocaust. My tante was in Auschwitz.
Tante, I love Tante.
Yeah, my Federzonen, you know. It was an interesting time when I was growing up because I was born way after the war, but yet I was raised with some people who had hard experiences due to the war. And we always sort of, you know, that's always somewhere like in there when you're growing up, you know, like in my generation. You know, it's there all the time.
Oh.
And it should be, by the way.
When you grew up, did you become a bat mitzvah or anything like that?
No, because my grandparents were Orthodox. And they didn't adhere to this tradition. So no, I wasn't bas mitzvah. We called it bas mitzvah. Everybody today calls it bat mitzvah, right?
Yeah.
We called it bas mitzvah.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because so that's the Ashkenazic pronunciation.
Right.
What's happened, the reason that you say bat mitzvah now is because when Israel came, they're really using the Sephardic pronunciation.
Right.
And most of the young people do that now, right?
Yeah.
We have a funny thing, my family and I, when we go to temple. So when they do the aliyot for the Torah reading, when you do the prayer beforehand, you have to say the words Notein HaTorah or Nosein HaTorah, right? And they pull people up, and I'm always sort of rooting for someone to say Nosein HaTorah. Right. I say bat mitzvah because it's the thing, but I really go back to the S's like you. I say Yiskadal v'Yiskadash, right? And the reason I do that, this was actually about Yiddish. I spoke to somebody about which accent to use in Yiddish, and my friend said to me, Ti kuvit auf dein Eltern, which means, if you know Hebrew, kuvit in Yiddish is kavod, right? So it means honor.
Right.
Do honor to your parents.
Right.
And my parents spoke with the suh.
Right.
So now I do it.
Right.
But we're in the
But that's
minority,
how we
my
learned.
friends.
But that's how we learned it. That's how we heard it.
But I want to make sure that while we're talking about Frank Sinatra, I don't want to forget to say,
Oh, yeah.
Julie Budd's new record is called Remembering Mr. Sinatra. And
Thank you.
look at these tunes. I got the world on a string.
Yeah.
Sitting on a ring.
And it's
This
full
is great.
orchestra. It's full,
Really?
Yeah, it's full orchestra. And, you know, if it weren't... Look, I was only barely 16 years old. And he made me keep a promise to him. And I said, what's that? He said, Julie, promise me that long after I'm gone, he says, you will continue to do these songs. The American Songbook, I think, you know.
Yeah. I've wanted something for a long time.
What's that?
That I'm not going to tell you, but what I will tell you...
I'm calling Lisa. You better watch it. You're in trouble with me, kiddo.
No, I've always wanted to sing a song with you.
Really?
Because I play drums with you.
Yeah.
But we never sang together.
Right.
And would you sing a song with me?
Jakey, why don't we do the one we rehearsed? Yes? All right.
You know, for a singer, she has excellent timing. So first of all,
Listen, I'm going to put on my glasses.
Yes.
Now, you tell me if I look like a librarian.
You know, in that dress, you're not going to look like a librarian, my dear.
No, I'm going to put these on, and you
Okay.
tell me if I look like a librarian. Oh, my God, Jake, your hair looks fabulous. What do you think? Is it hard or is it okay? It's all right? Oh,
Take
thanks.
this mic.
Thanks.
Now, I want to introduce this song we're going to do. So this is great. It's like a standard, right? It's like one of those songs.
Oh, yeah.
It's written by Jewish songwriters, a guy named Felix Bernard and Dick Smith, but it's known as a Christmas song, right? It's just a holiday song. It's a great song. So many of these great Christmas songs were written by Jewish songwriters. This is off my CD, A Treasury of Jewish Christmas Songs.
Which is, by the way,
What
a
else?
fabulous
Thank
CD.
you.
You have to get this CD. It's really, really a good CD. It's my favorite holiday CD.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it really is. And you sound so cool on it.
Maestro?
Over the ground lies a mantle of white. A heaven of diamonds shine down through the night. Two hearts are thrilling in spite of the chill in the weather.
Doesn't he sing great? Right?
Love knows no season, love knows no clime. Romance can blossom any old time. Here in the open, we're walking and hoping together.
Sleigh bells ring, I am listening in the lane. Snow is glistening.
A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is a bluebird, here to stay is a new bird. Sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Rabbi Brown.
He'll say, darling, got you married. I say, oi,
You can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in the winter wonderland. I like this.
I do too.
In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that she's a circus clown.
We'll have lots of fun with Sister Snowman and hope the other kids don't knock her down.
When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though you know it gets so chilly, we'll frolic and play the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in the winter wonderland. Walking in the winter wonderland. Walking. Hey, Boots, start walking.
Great heels. Walking.
Walking. Walking in the winter wonderland.
Julie Maud, the great Julie Maud!
Stick around, we'll be right back with a very special Catskills Celebrity Hall of Fame induction.
Want to know what programs will be on JBS in the coming week? Then sign up for the JBS Sunday email, which highlights future JBS programming and gives you the JBS weekly schedule, which you can print out and refer to throughout the week. And it's so simple to do. Just visit our new JBS website at jbstv.org and click on Newsletter Sign Up and fill in your name and email address. And every Sunday morning you'll receive an email with JBS programming information. JBS, expanding Jewish understanding, celebrating all things Jewish.
We're back. Folks, the Catskill Mountains in its heyday was truly a magical place. Just 100 miles from New York City is where Jewish comedy became American comedy. It was a fresh air haven for Jewish families, including survivor families like my own. A place where for a few weeks, or maybe even a couple of months, they went and let their hair down a little bit and they began to live again. The Catskills Hall of Fame honors the men and women who gave us so much. Entertainers, athletes, hotel owners, musicians, they helped us thrive, they helped to shape American culture, and they left a legacy for us all. Our honoree for this evening is the indomitable Sid Caesar. Sid Caesar was the most popular sketch comedian of all time. Billy Crystal said, I wonder what kind of comedy I'd be doing if I hadn't seen Sid Caesar. Would I be a comedian at all? Isaac Sidney Caesar was the youngest of 3 sons born to immigrant Jewish parents from Poland on September 8, 1922. He learned his classic double talk by mimicking the diverse clientele at his parents' 24-hour luncheonette. His 2 pioneering television series, Your Show of Shows and Caesar's Hour, were watched by millions and influenced generations of comedians. He was nominated for 11 Emmy Awards. His impact on television was so massive, it became a problem for Broadway producers. Fans stayed home on Saturday night to watch his show instead of going out to see live plays. Comedy star Carol Burnett remembers winning tickets to see My Fair Lady on Broadway. I gave the tickets to my roommate, she said. I figured My Fair Lady's gonna run forever, but Sid Caesar is live. I'll never see that again. Caesar's writers included Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, Woody Allen, Neil Simon, and many more. Simon recalled, Sid would simply make our sketches 10 times funnier than what we wrote. The 1982 movie My Favorite Year, executive produced by Mel Brooks, was based on Your Show of Shows, with my old friend Joe Bologna cast in the Sid Caesar role. Like many other comedians and entertainers, Sid Caesar started his career as a musician. At 14 years old, he worked as a saxophone player in the Catskill Mountains. And he later met his future wife at the Avon Lodge in Woodridge, New York. He acted in dozens of movies, including Grease, It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, History of the World, Cannonball Run, many others. His world included Emmys, Tonys, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I count myself extremely honored to have spent some time with Sid. When I was performing at Juke Bros in Brooklyn in Los Angeles, my wife and I were invited to several small get-togethers at Sid's house in Beverly Hills. These were intimate affairs which included guests like Mel Brooks, Monty Hall, Theo Bickel, and many other elder statesmen. I often joke that I was the bar mitzvah boy. He must have taken a shine to Lisa and myself, because we were actually invited to spend a private afternoon visiting Sid in his bedroom, along with comedian Richard Lewis and the friend who had originally invited us. This was amazing. Sid reminisced with stories of Charlie Chaplin and how Chaplin had been mad at Sid because some critics said that Sid was funnier. He told us we should work clean, which he always did. It was truly magical. He was very lucid, but once in a while he got slightly confused. I said, Sid, you should do what my dad did when that happened to him. Simply shrug it off and say, it's a mishigas, which he did. Of all the languages he seemed to speak with his double talk, he really knew only 2, English and Yiddish. Sid Caesar passed away on February 12, 2014 at his home at the age of 91, just about 2 years after this photograph was taken. Upon his death, Carl Reiner said, Sid was the ultimate. He was the very best sketch artist and comedian that ever existed. Sid Caesar and his wife Florence, who passed in 2010, had 3 children and 2 grandsons. The Catskills Hall of Fame is honored to induct the iconic pioneer, Sid Caesar. Let's enjoy some classic Caesar.
Just one of those things. Io doveva la via, chi na faccia via l'ola, chi na guida vai mai l'ola, iatta. You have to cool down.
Sid Caesar! Hi, folks. You know, we're often asked where people can get my books or CDs. We've created a very easy way to get them. Simply go to jakeehrenreich.com. Both my CDs are there, A Treasure of Jewish Christmas Songs, which is a tribute to the Jewish songwriters, and Yiddish Unplugged, a compilation of my dad's favorite Yiddish folk songs. Both make excellent gifts. Of course, my first book, A Jew Grows in Brooklyn, is available, which Publishers Weekly called Entertaining Throughout. And there are more items too. So it's very simple. Just go to jakeehrenreich.com, wind up with a book to read, some music to enjoy, or a unique gift for a loved one. Stay well, my friends. I look forward to seeing you. And now back to the show. That's our show. I'd like to thank my guests, Julie Budd, Stephanie Lynn Mason, Drew Siegler, the wonderful Brianne Bergson. I want to thank our directors, Sloan Copeland and Lisa Ehrenreich. Video John Firsthand, Shannon Epstein, Tristan Burke, Mark Heinrich, JBS President and Executive Senior Director and Producer, Rabbi Mark